Welcome to the Project Bring Me Life podcast, talking about the spiritual awakening, metaphysics, and holistic health with artists, musicians, guides, writers, healers, and supporters. So please join us. Wake up and shine on.
Hey guys, Shintastic Shine here. Do you have any aches or pains, damage from an accident, or maybe just a bad case of nerves? Have you ever looked into crystal energy therapy? If you take a moment to check out my personal website, you'll find an assortment of items all made with Reiki healing energy. They've also been charged and cleansed by the full moon or candlelight. I also make custom crystal prescription pieces to aid personal selection of aches, pains, and other desires. There are crystals ranging from back pain to heartache, pregnancy, and even protection or abundance. Take a peek today at shintasticshine.com. I hope to see you there. Shine on.
Hello everyone, and thank you for joining us for this podcast. Very special episode. And we're actually coming to you from the Peace of Me Spiritual Center in Cumberland, Maryland. I am Christopher Seelman, of course, with Jody Kreiser. Hello, Jody.
Hello.
And we're actually going to be interviewing Robert Harding. Hello.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon. It's an honor to have you, and just want to say that before we begin. And you do a lot of amazing things, and it's just really cool to have you here.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here.
Yeah. So.
It's wonderful to see you coming and joining us from London. We talk a lot about you in the past. I was wondering if you could start off by telling us a little bit about yourself and how you got started in healing.
Okay, the brief version is I was a regular guy in London, living a regular life, had a good job, my own apartment and company car and all the perks that go with it. And for 47 years I lived a pretty regular life. Met this amazing lady after 47 years called Dolly. We got on pretty well. 49, we were in Florida on vacation, and I woke up one morning and Mother Mary was floating above the bed. Now that tends to focus your mind a little on what you're doing, and it changed my life incredibly. I didn't know how it was going to change my life then. I was just, whoa, what's going on here? I was a regular guy, loved to drink, probably too much, but I was a regular guy. And then after that, Dolly had always been a very spiritual lady, and she knew some people who sort of took me under their wing, and one of them in particular told me I was going to be a healer and all amazing things would happen. I had Native American connections, and all this was news to me, of course, 49-year-old guy, as I say, just living a sort of regular life. But then it all started happening. When I was 50, I fell ill. I was off work for 3 months, after which I never ever had another drink. That's probably the biggest physical change. And after that, I started getting more and more along the spiritual path and less along the, the capitalist, I can't think of the word, the commercial path. I started disliking selling things. I started disliking the greed that seemed to be permeating everything. I disliked driving everywhere, seeing the road rage that was everywhere in England. And when I was 53, I just quit my job. I quit my job, sold my apartment, and decided I should follow this path. And I came out to America on a 3-month visit, met some amazing people in Florida who sent me to see an amazing man named Rainbow Eagle. So I came back in late 2004. And decided I was going to go west to follow this path with the Native Americans. I was told I had this big connection with them, and I was told they were the Hopi. I'd never heard of the Hopi, but I decided I would go and do this trip. But I went to see Rainbow Eagle first, and he sent me on a vision quest. And he sent me via Missouri, Colorado to Arizona, and all sort of amazing things happened. And I ended up meeting a Hopi family about whom I'd read in a book that I was given. And then, I don't know, after then things just escalated. I was doing more and more healings, culminating in my writing the book about 3 or 4 years later. And then it brought me here to Cumberland, Maryland. I met a lady who'd read the book and asked me if I would do absent healings from England to there. I did some absent healings with her and they seemed to work. And so she decided she'd like to have an expo in Cumberland, and she invited me out here, called the expo the Blue Star Expo, and I came out here in 2012 where I met the beautiful Jodie. And since then I've been coming back, well, I wouldn't say regularly, I've been back 3 times, but this is my first visit for a couple of years. And it's good to be here.
It's wonderful to have you with us again.
Thank you.
We missed you the last 2 years
Well,
that you
thank
haven't
you
been
for
in
that.
Cumberland. Now with the Blue Star, that's something that's very, very intriguing because Blue Star is also a part of the Hopi prophecy. Can you tell us a little bit about the Blue Star prophecy of the Hopi?
Yeah, sure. When I was told I was going to be a healer, the amazing lady named Betty, who told me this, she was a clairvoyant reader, a medium, I don't know what you call them up here, a seer. And she told me that I was going to be this healer and I'll be doing all this work, but she told me I had a blue star with me. Now, Betty was an amazing lady. She was like mid to late 70s, and she wasn't very politically correct. She said this is a red Indian thing. She couldn't tell me what it was, if it was a he, if it was an it, but it was a blue star. I was fascinated with this, and I never got anywhere looking up what it was until I went to Florida for my 3 months, and I met a lady there named Pura. And one night Pura called me all excited and said, "You've got to come and see this." And I went to see her, and on her computer she had the Hopi Blue Star Prophecy. Now, I'd never heard of the Hopi, ever. But reading what Pura had said, it seems they were a spiritual tribe out in the southwest. And they had a prophecy, and the prophecy was apparently one that coincided with the Mayan prophecy and the Tibetan prophecy. And as far as we were at the end of a cycle and we were about to start a new cycle. Now, this was 2003, but it all seemed to coincide with 2012, when the end of the Hopi 4th cycle and the beginning of the 5th. But the blue star, when the blue star appears in the sky, would signal the end of that cycle. With the blue star there would be other signs, the birth of a white buffalo, and the white buffalo was indeed born in 2003, I believe, called Miracle, in Wisconsin. They haven't yet seen the blue star, although there is talk that there is a comet way, way, way in the galaxy now, which they're thinking could well be it. But the Twin Towers falling on 9/11 was considered a part. It said when it referred to, I think, the end of certain buildings. I can't remember the exact wording. They talked about the coming of the Mica Towers, which they believe is the United Nations building in New York. And in fact, Hopi elders went there to give talks. Thomas Banyakya. I don't know if Dan Ivahima went, who is the man who I'm associated with, but Thomas Banyakya went and I believe gave a talk at the UN building. The lines crisscrossing the planet they put down as being the railroads in the USA, because this prophecy is like hundreds if not thousands of years old. And I mean, I found my Hopi connection by going to Old Arabi, which is even though you never see it, you always see St. Augustine as being the oldest settlement in the USA. But Old Arabi is 1,000 years old.
It's beautiful.
And it is an amazing place. You've seen it. It's just absolutely wonderful.
Is that here in the US?
Yes, it's on the, I think it's on 3rd Mesa, Hopi. It might be 2nd, but I think it's on 3rd Mesa on Hopi Land. And it's sort of desolate place. It's an amazing place with little pueblos, pueblos dotted around. But it is like, Dan was born there. Dan Ivahima was born there.
They used to live there in that area, right?
They still do. Some still do.
They still live there.
Yeah, but Dan's family, in 1911 or 1910-11, there was a power struggle among the Hopi, and they did a pulling contest, which is this thing where they pull it, or is it pushing? I can't remember, excuse me. It's a pulling or pushing contest. And the traditionalists lost, and they were banished. And this was Yuki Yuma, the great chief of the Hopi then, who is one of Dan's predecessors. And they left Old Arabia and formed Haute Villa. And Haute Villa is on Third Mesa, I believe. And Haute Villa is the holy city of the Hopi. And the Hopi consider it to be the microcosm of the world. So if you get the book Haute Villa, and it is well worth a read, although it's very heavy going, if you get the book Haute Villa, it explains about Haute Villa, and what happens there happens in the world.
I love that about the Hopi, because they do believe that everything that goes on there is the microcosm for the macrocosm, and because they're also known as the wisdom keepers. And there was this this pact that was sort of made between Creator and the Hopis, that as long as they would live the right way, the way of Creator, that the world would be safe.
Yep. And when they don't, maybe it won't be. Although they don't predict doom, they don't. But they do predict change in these cycles. But yes, Masau, M-A-A-S-A-U or A-W, is the spiritual leader of the Hopi, and he's a hideous, deformed man with bandages and blood on his face. If you ever see him, he's quite a sight. If you look at the front of the book, the Hopi Survival Kit, Masau is there, and he's pretty hideous. But people came to him and said, "Can we live on your land?" And he said, "Yes, providing you live as I do, which is tend to the land, live on the land, grow your corn, and live like that, and we can all live in peace." And Masau is an amazing figure. He is believed to fly around the world every night, once a day. He flies around. And Susie, who is the niece of Dan Iwahima, who I met, she said she's seen him on the land, walking the land. This amazing man.
When did he live?
I'm not sure he ever did.
Okay.
He is like a legendary figure.
Okay.
Much like Pahana
Okay.
is a legendary figure amongst others. Now, I'm not the greatest Hopi expert, so if there's anyone out there knows more and they want to say he doesn't know what he's talking about, they could be quite right. I'm only saying what I've picked up during my time there and what I've been told by Susie. But it is a very powerful prophecy. Very powerful indeed.
And Pahana is the name for the blue star as well, correct?
Pahana is the name for the white brother whose return will herald the next cycle. Now, ego aside, for one moment I actually thought I might be Pahana, because the legend said the white man will return to the Hopi. He would be an Anglo or Hispanic, and he would honour their traditions and everything, and he would come with the truth. Now, I actually thought for a time it might be me, because this ridiculous story, how did I get to meet them? But some elders believe Pahana is Jesus, and there is legend that Jesus walked Hopi Land.
Yes, that's one of the things about the Mormons too, because the Book of Mormon is said to be very similar to the Hopi tablets. They've actually compared the two of them, and they find that there's so many similarities, and they're describing the same type of events. So that's very
Well,
cool.
yeah, and because Utah, next to Arizona. So why wouldn't Jesus walk over to Utah? If he could walk on Hopi Land, which is northwest Arizona, northeast Arizona.
Yeah, and the Book of Mormon is specifically supposed to be about the times when Jesus was in North America doing a part of his mission here. Could you imagine? And
So if Jesus is Pahana, it would make an awful lot of sense if he was Pahana.
Yeah, I'm a little behind on some of the things that you guys are talking about, but I was curious, how does your healing sort of fall in line with the prophecy?
No idea. I honestly don't know whether the healing was the means for me to get here, because I told you I did a absent healings. I did healings on Hopi. I did healings with the lady that took me in. And I think they were okay healings, but they didn't change the world. And I've done some healings in Colorado there, and I've done plenty in the USA, but the healings seem to be separate. It seems to be a means of me to, I meet amazing people through healing.
Mm.
I meet people, some very special ones. It's obvious when I do healing, sometimes I meet one, I think, oh, this is an interesting one. And that's sort of how it's happened. I think they seem to be separate. The healing seemed to me, for me, to be a means maybe of meeting people, getting some donations to pay money, because you go up your job and you sell your apartment, that money doesn't last forever. It goes. And the book sales, I don't know how many I sold, hundreds I suppose. It isn't Harry Potter.
Right?
But maybe it will. I was told it's going to sell, but it seems to be less and less important. As the time goes on, that side of things seems to be less and less important. It's more about the healings and meeting people like Jody and stuff, and what goes on over here. I haven't been to Hopi for like 7-8 years.
We gotta change that.
But we are. Well, we are. I'm going to go back to Hopi one day. Jodie's going to go there before. She's going to go as my advance party. I'm going to send her to meet Susie, and she'll go and she'll fall in love with Susie like I did, and she'll fall in love with the land like I did.
Oh, it's beautiful.
It is. It's beautiful but desolate. I mean, it isn't. Hopi Land isn't Sedona. Hopi Land is flat with mesas, but it's incredibly spiritual. You go. There's an eeriness about it when you drive. I drove from Winslow. And when you drive onto Hopi Land, there's this, look what's coming, 40 miles. You see this thing coming, because it's like 60 miles from Winslow to Hopi. And it's 45-mile drive or something like that to get onto Hopi Land. You have to go through Navajo Land first, because the Hopi Land is surrounded entirely by Navajo Land. And the Navajo and the Hopi are sworn enemies. So it's interesting, even though the Hopis don't tend to fight with anybody.
Right.
But they've never been conquered, the Hopi.
Right.
They've always, the conquistadors live in the Hopi Land.
It's because of the sacred pact that they have.
There's something that protects them from everything.
What do you see as the biggest difference in the way of life between the way that people who are still keeping the ways of the Creator in Hopi Land versus the way that we live in modern society?
Money. They have none. The Hopi have no money.
How do they make it then?
Grow corn. They don't make a lot of money. I understand in the book, The Hopi Survival Kit, which is about Danny Vahima and his family, it says that Danny Vahima is the greatest Native American chief of the 20th century, but he never ever had more than $100 to his name. And I've been to their place. I mean, I've been privy to seeing the most amazing things, and I've sat in Dan's seat, and I was even offered to stay the night in his little house. I didn't, as it happens, because the weather was getting a bit bad, it was snowing, and I thought I needed to get out, otherwise I could be there for weeks, because it's pretty barren up there. But the traditionalists, there are two Hopis. There are the traditionalists and there are the progressives. The progressives, like the tribal council, would, I'm pretty certain, have a casino on the land if they could. But the traditionalists fight them. And I'll tell you what, whenever anyone has a go at the white man and the hippies, if it wasn't for them, these traditions would not be upheld, because there's such a need for money. So the white man spreads the word about the traditions. Some friends of mine went down and helped Susie plant all her fields. Otherwise they wouldn't have it. So there would be great encouragement to sell out. And there is still this movement that wants to sell. You've seen how other tribes have got their casinos and they're rolling in money. Now, I'd love to see them get money, but not like that. Not on that land. I'd love to. Let's face it, everyone owes them big time in America for what the Native Americans have been through. Not just the Hopi, but the rest of them. But though they live in, I wouldn't say it's poverty, they've got solar panels on their houses, so Susie can watch TV and that, but they have no running water. They have to rely on rain and the stream. And their reservoirs and their little ponds and ditches, and they have a menagerie. They've got chickens and goats, horses, and everything. But they live very, very, very sparingly.
Interesting. They still make it.
Thousands of years. They're still going. Mass house still circles, apparently.
Did they teach you much? Because I've heard them say that whenever the Mayans kind of dissipated and disappeared, that some of the ones that were left over migrated and moved up into the Hopi territory.
Yeah, I heard that. Before I went to the Hopi, I went to Montezuma's Castle and Montezuma's Well in Arizona, which are fabulous places. And I remember reading that the legend is that the Mayans migrated northwest and became the Hopi. Those that weren't subjugated or destroyed, murdered by the conquistadors, migrated north and became the Hopi. And I think that's probably why the prophecy are almost identical. Doesn't explain what the Tibetan one is, because no Tibetans migrated over there, or no Mayans migrated to Tibet. So there's that magic there. But there is a connection, and I did ask Susie. I hadn't met her then. I met her 2 days later, following Montezuma's visit, and I said to her one of the 3 or 4 days that I was there, I said, look, I read that they came north. She said, my uncle. And the interesting thing about the Hopi is they don't refer to people, dead people, by name. It's a really interesting trip. My uncle. That's all she ever referred to, my uncle. My uncle did say that we came from the southwest.
Interesting.
Yeah, amazing people, wonderful people.
Yeah, there's some ancient prophecies that describe beings like bright stars in the sky coming to visit them and giving them information. Does it say anything about extraterrestrials or angels or any beings like that coming to them?
I've never heard of anything. I'm sure there will be with Masao, of course. You know, if he can fly around the world on his own at night. And I've never heard anything about that. I wouldn't discount it. You know, the gods. I was told in my travels, I've met some amazing people, and one very wise man sat me down and was telling me that Zeus, Apollo, Anubis, Isis, these all existed, these gods. Mm-hmm. They did all live at one stage. You know, I'm an Englishman, right? I'm a skeptic. I'm a natural skeptic. So I don't believe everything I'm told. But because of what I've seen over these last few years, I don't discount anything else. So I've got a little file there, and it's don't think I actually believe that, but you know what? I'm going to keep it there. Mm-hmm. And these are the things I've been told, that Apollo did walk. I've always had this thing about Apollo, I don't know why, the Greek god, but I was told he existed, Apollo. He was this amazing character who existed 5,000 years ago or something. So I don't discount it. And sorry, your question was, it has been said, and it was in fact in an episode of Star Trek, I remember once, that Apollo was an alien being, and all the gods were aliens who came here when we needed them and left when we no longer needed them.
That was Next Generation, right?
No, that was the original Star Trek.
Oh.
There was an episode with Apollo. Next Generation's better, but that was one of the good episodes, and it was very plausible. And you think about it, we don't need gods to rule our life, to kneel to anymore. We don't need the medieval god of hellfire. We don't need that. We're not those people anymore. The God we need today is a God of love and understanding. And I think over the 2,000 years or so, I just quote that because that's Jesus' time, we seem to get the God we need for that generation. Mm-hmm. And he's different now than as he was even 100 years ago. Isn't he? It's a different God.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Is that what you connect with when you're, I guess a spiritual conduit is a term that I heard in your book?
Yeah, I was told I was a conduit. It's American word. It's not a word I'd ever heard used, but it makes sense. A vessel or a conduit, where I know. I'll be honest with you. When I first started doing it, I started seeing the results. You think, wow, hey, I must be something pretty special when I'm doing this stuff. And then you realise as time goes on that you're not. That all you're doing is you're opening yourself up and someone else is coming through. And many times, I suppose, in the very early days, before I came to America for the first spell. When I first started doing it, I was a little cavalier about my approach. And I was a bit, hey,
a little swagger.
Hey, look, Jody's ankle's getting better. But then you realise, and I think all healers are different. I'm sure some people. I've met healers who diagnose. I've met healers who say, if I put my hand on there, I can feel if they need an operation, if they've got a dodgy kidney or something. Really, and I have to believe them. It's not me, and I haven't met, but I've seen psychic surgery, where they go in and take something out and all this sort of thing. That's in that file, right?
Yeah.
That's very much in that file.
Neo did it in the Matrix.
Okay, it must be true. But John of
God
God,
is
I wouldn't dispute John of God, because I've known friends. My friend in Colorado met him, and this amazing, humble man who doesn't get anything for it. Just does these amazing things, and I've seen documentaries on him, so I have to accept that there are people who do amazing things, and he diagnoses. Apparently he goes to where the trouble is. I don't, and I've never been able to do it. The only thing I've ever picked up in the years is, all right, I've picked up the occasional headache or something. I've picked up sadness, and it's turned out that person has got a serious illness or something terminal. But in the main, I just do the same thing every time. So, and I know it isn't me. I know it isn't now. Because if it was me, I could put my hand on you now, and it would all be fabulous. You'd be cured of any headache or anything. But it isn't. I have to prepare, not long, but I have to say my bit. And as a lady once said to me, your friend Sandy Robinson, she said to me, do you know, when you put your hands on my head, you fire up. Well, I fire up because they're coming through. And people see things, and people see people personal to them. I saw the granddad and all this. Well, I don't know their granddad, so I couldn't do it, could I? So it has to be. Yeah.
Is there any specific deific realm that you connect to the most? I know you said that you had Mary come to you in a dream. So is Mary somebody that you work closely with, or somebody from the Tibetan?
No, in fact, don't forget, just put you right there, because Mary didn't come to me in a dream. Mary was there when I woke up. There she was, this amazing sight.
With your eyes open.
Oh, I was very much awake.
Did she talk to you?
No, she was there. I woke up and there she was. And she was in the form of the Lady of Clearwater in Florida. This is a building where Mary's image had appeared, and we'd been there the day before. And that morning I woke up and I had a skimful the night before, as I always used to. And Dolly was asleep beside me, and we were in the hotel room. I could murder a coffee, but I was too tired to go over and put the kettle on. And I said, I thought I heard Dolly sort of stir, so I thought, oh, good. And I turned around. As I sort of turned around from that side, there was this image about 4 foot above the bed. And I this image that was on the building, all the colours. And I stripped on it and said, Dolly, look at this. And she just went up straight through the ceiling. Wow. So that just put you straight on that. But no, I don't. There are those that I ask, and I'll keep those to myself, who I ask. But in the main, no, because I trust that once I'm in healing mode and I've opened myself up, that people are going to come through. People have seen who consider their guides, people have mentioned angels that I don't know, and they saw them. So I trust that they will come through.
Yeah, I had an experience, because you gave me a healing a few days ago, and while you were doing it, I kept having this visual of it was like a bright blue sphere of energy, and in the center was just like a sliver of black, kind of like an eye. And I know that's the color of Archangel Michael, and I felt very strongly like Archangel Michael was definitely, coming through that.
But you associate with Archangel Michael.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
See, and I never have particularly. I'd love to have my tell everyone, by the way, come get healing from me and you'll get Archangel Michael. I'd make millions, wouldn't I? He was there for you, and it was him. I'm absolutely convinced. We know he exists. I mean, we believe. You know, if you've seen Mary in a hotel room in Florida, then believe me, they all exist. If you've seen Mary, then you know Jesus must exist. If you know Jesus must exist, you know the archangels must exist because they worked, you know, in the Bible with him. So he was there for you. Isn't it wonderful?
It was very wonderful.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it a lot, and you know, I encourage anybody who's interested to how would they go about scheduling?
Well, I suppose through Jody. I suppose while I'm here, I mean, I'm here for another 4 weeks or something, 4 or 5 weeks. Through Piece of Me, do it there. That's the best way. I have a phone. I couldn't tell you what the phone number is, so I can't tell you what that is. Piece of Me.
And if say if it was past the date, is there absent healings? That
I do a lot of absent healings actually, and usually in the USA. Usually I'm in London, and they're in the USA. They could again do it through Piece of Me. Okay. If they contacted Piece of Me, we can.
I can always get a hold of them.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, she's got 24/7.
Got a red line in.
Absolutely. Yeah. So no problem.
Okay, brilliant. Yeah. It's coming up near the end of the interview, and just want to say very blessed and honored to be here with you and to do this with you and to create this space. Did you have any other questions?
I do. One of the things I really enjoyed about reading Robert's book, which is this one, Blue Star, this true story of one man's spiritual awakening and vision quests. The thing that was most beautiful to me about this was that you came to a country that you were not native to, and you had these different people that was telling you, like, you need to go here first. So there was not fear in that. You were just like, okay, I'm going to go here. And you would go there and you would meet the right person, and then you would go to the next part. And it was just like this amazing link of synchronicities that took you like right into the heart of Hopi Land. Mm-hmm. So if there was some type of insight that you could give to people, what would it be?
What people who might want to do.
Yes, that are feeling like a pull, like there's more to life than just this average thing I'm going through every day.
It is, isn't it? It can't just be me. I can't be the only one of the 6 billion on this planet
no, you're not.
who's supposed to be on a vision quest, right? There must be you for a start. Mm-hmm. You are going to go because you have to. Yes. You know you have to. The advice I would give is do it. Firstly, because it's the greatest thing I ever did. It can be, what's the word? Not frightening, but it can be a little, I don't know the right word, maybe frightening is
I do find it a little frightening, like the idea of just leaving everything and going to Arizona without, like that frightens me.
I remember when I was on, this is in the book actually, I remember when I got to Hopi Land, I didn't have the foggiest idea what I was going to do when I got there, because I only found out that Dan Igahima had died en route. I thought I was going to go and meet him. Mm-hmm. But no, so he didn't die while I was en route. I only found out he died after I started his Rainbow Eagle time. So my reason for doing it had gone. So I thought I better go and meet his family, because it was the greatest thing I did was meet his family. Mm-hmm. But when I drove onto Hopi Land, and there was a gas station, a little gas station like with one pump, and there was a little supermarket there. And for some reason this seemed incongruous. You know, I was on Hopi Land and there's a gas station, but I thought, okay. And I parked up at the edge of the gas station. I was hungry. I thought, I'll go and get something. It said hot food. I thought, I'll go in. And I have to be honest with you. I thought I'd walk in through that door and someone would say, my God, there's Pahana. Right. Or someone would say, this is the white guy we've been waiting for. And suddenly I felt really alone. Suddenly I felt like 5,000 miles. Like, okay, what are you doing? What are you doing here? You know, someone could come and shoot you, take your money, hide you steal your car and bury you. No one would ever find you. You know, miles from anywhere. Yeah. And you did trepidation. Maybe that's the word. I did think that. Of course, there was no problem. I walked in and nobody knew me. Nobody recognised me. I got a hot dog and it was really good. And I had a hot dog and coffee and I sat there and wondered what I was going to do. But driving across, it's fun. America is brilliant. Dwight D. Eisenhower, what a genius in the interstate system, right? I could drive to Arizona from Florida and it's like 3 roads.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? In England it'd be 103, but 3 roads. Just amazing. And it opens up for you. I believe if you're meant to do it, it will open up. You will meet people. I used to call them my signposts. You meet them and say, hey, go there. Or go there. But in the main, you follow your own intuition and you just go and do it. What is the worst that could happen? I don't know what is the worst. Yeah, you could end up murdered and everything, but if your heart's good and you're not stupid, you know, you don't go and stay. I saw a couple of dodgy motels on my trip, I tell you, especially in a place called Las Vegas, Arizona. Oh, sorry, Las Vegas, New Mexico. Right, there's a Las Vegas in New Mexico. It's like this one-horse town, and I went into there. The day I had a TV interview about the book, I was so tired. I called into this motel. Man, I was out of there so fast. You wouldn't believe it. It was just awful. The worst place I'd ever been in my life. So as long as you're not stupid and you're not reckless, you tend to. And I would just say to anybody who's watching, I guess that anyone who watches these podcasts are of a similar sort of mind to us. Correct?
Oh, absolutely.
Therefore, do it. Just do it. Do it. Go and do it. The Hopi are the most wonderful people. And if you can go there and put $50 in some family's pocket or something, wonderful. And you get this amazing reward and you hear these wonderful stories and you see fabulous scenery. Do it. But just don't be cocky or reckless en route.
Definitely agree.
Yeah.
Did you, I know you had these, did you just want to show this off really quick?
Yeah, I mean, I won't tell the reason how I got them because it's a magical story and it is part of the book. I'm not doing this to sell the books, but you can buy the book, of course. But obviously we have a time limitation. I got on really well with Susie Lamatska, who is Danny Vahima's niece, and she's a brilliant Kachina doll carver. So this is my plug for Susie. If you want to buy a Kachina doll, look online for Susie Lamatska. They're wonderful. The dolls sell like $500 a piece or something, but they take her 3 weeks to make.
Yeah.
And I've seen her carve them in her room. They're wonderful. But on the last day I was there, she'd had a bit of a spiritual awakening herself as to who I was, I believe. And when I got there, she welcomed me like long lost family, and she gave me Danny Vahima's bolo tie, which he used to wear for ceremonies. Where the men would go into the kivas, which is the underground chambers where they used to sit and smoke and talk about changing and saving the world.
Right.
But the biggest thing was she gave me his medicine pouch, which he used to wear around his neck, full of blue corn, and he would offer it to Mother Earth so he could grow his corn. And I have these, and they're incredible treasures. When I leave this planet, they're going back to Hopi.
They have amazing energy.
So they tell me. I'm not one. I'm this vessel and this conduit. I don't tend to feel things, but I know Jody does, and they are pretty powerful stuff.
He let me borrow it one day when he came in on one of the visits a couple of years ago. And it was amazing because the first time I touched it and I closed my eyes and I'm just thinking about it, and I saw this man pop into my vision. And I was like, well, this is interesting. So all of a sudden, like, of course I want to know, like, is it right? Is this true? Could I really see this? So I go and I look up Dan Evahim and I pull up the picture and I was like, bazinga! Like, it looked just like him, and it was so cool. Like, this amazing energy was kind of like, actually, it was kind of like the first time you did a healing on me. Because the first time you did the healing on me, I had that lightning energy just shoot up my spine. And it was very, very similar to the energy that I got off of.
Because there must be the Hopi connection with it. There must be a Hopi connection with the healing because of who I am. But he was an amazing man. But these are treasures.
Absolutely.
Absolute treasures.
Great. Well, I appreciate your time here and check out the book. How do people find the book?
Jody.
Really?
Come to Piece of Me. They can be mailed anywhere around the world. They'll be mailed. Just contact Piece of Me.
Yeah, and to reach Piece of Me, you can go to Facebook and find us at facebook.com, Piece of Me Healing. You can email us at pieceofmehealing@gmail.com. And also, we have a website on Wix. It's a pretty long one, so maybe we'll just put it along the bottom.
Oh yeah, we'll put it.
And you have a telephone number somewhere along the line.
Oh yeah, we do have a phone number.
You
That's
do?
right. You can call us, of course. It is 240-362-7484.
Really?
Absolutely.
Oh yeah. Well, I've enjoyed this interview live.
Thank you. Me too.
Oh, yeah. Thanks so much.
You're welcome.
Meditation has been proven over and over with studies from well-established schools like Harvard University to grow gray matter in the part of the brain associated with memory, learning, empathy, reduced stress, and countless others. Join Suleiman with his first official meditation CD, including 4 studio-quality recordings, including all original music. Become mindful of your world with mindfulness. Learn about healing major energy centers of the body with Chakra Cleanse. Begin to forgive the past and move forward in life with forgiveness. Connect with your soul and ignite your heart with the true you. To get this meditation CD, all you have to do is go to projectbringmelife.com and click on the merch page next to the home tab.
Hi guys, it's Shantastic Shine here with this week's card reading. I've been using my Psychic Oracle deck by John Holland, and I've gone ahead and did a 3-card pull for us, so I'm going to see what they are, and let's see what the energies have to share with us this week. Awesome. So what this is saying is this past new moon, it's been quite an adventure for many of us. We've had this conflict and this defeated feeling that's been kind of weighing down on us, and it's been hard for us to feel like we're getting anywhere. Instead of going up the stairs, we keep feeling like we're falling down. But what we have to remember is that though we may feel like we're hitting rock bottom, there's always this light at the bottom of the dark tunnel that is just telling us that it's okay. Everything is going to just move on. Which brings us to our second card, is that this conflict or defeat may even have to do with a heartache or loss. Be it with a friendship, a relationship, someone that you love passing, or someone moving away, or just something of a matter of the heart has been bothering us and weighing down. And that's okay, because it's important to realize that everybody has lost someone in some way or another. Be it a friend, a pet, a loved one, a significant other, or even a physical object that you've just been in love with and has now found its way onto its next adventure. What this new moon has also told us is that it's time to move on. To reach the next chapter, it's important that you come to a conclusion that you're allowed to forgive this energy or this loss, and just forgive the universe for having it happen, because it's obviously been a lesson. There's some reason that this has happened. And it's really important that we find this energy to move forward. And this gentleman's carrying a watch or a compass, and he's just walking forward into the light. And the light is here to guide us, and know that everything happens for a reason. So whether this is a feeling that you are having and you're moving past, or a feeling that's going to come to you this week, know that everything happens for a reason. Know that you're going to be able to just stand strong and get through this situation. Everyone's lost something, and that has to do with a lesson. So thanks for tuning in to this week's episode and this week's card reading. I send you lots of love, and may you stay awake and shine on always.
Hello, and welcome to another 2-minute meditation. For this 2-minute meditation, we are going to listen to the crickets. So sit back, relax, and close your eyes. Crickets are well known for their abilities in singing, their strength, and their vitality. In Chinese cultures, the cricket can represent abundance and wealth. Now let's take a listen to this recording of crickets that Jim Wilson and David Carson did in 1992. It's called God's Cricket Chorus. It is recorded using only the sounds of the crickets. Thank you for joining me in this 2-minute meditation. For more, go to youtube.com and search C.S. Clausen. Or you can go to csclausen.wordpress.com. Thank you, and have a great week.
Hey guys, thanks for listening to Project Bring Me to Life. I hope this episode inspired you in some way. After the show, take a moment and share us on your favorite social media, be it Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. Thanks in advance. Stay awake and shine on always.
Aho! That was mine.
That was mine, yes,
It
it
was
was
mine.
actually, yeah, so I shouldn't have.
You ever watch Hopi Land?
No.
They use catchphrase, gotta catch them all.
Okay.
Gotta catch one.
Gotta catch them all. Pokemon. With the Pokeballs.
Hey, boo boo!
Yeah. Especially Mr. Jinx the cat. Do you remember Jinx with Pixie and Dixie? Oh, that one. Jinx was so funny. Anyway, Wile E. Coyote is the greatest cartoon invention of all time, I think.
Did you ever catch them in a
Never. Well, it's a classic outfit, love this thing. Big bunny and
We do bloopers at the end.
okay. I hope.